On the news tonight, Delta State government debunks online reports that the state runs on borrowed fund. Governor Sheriff Oberwari approves presentation of grants to widows living positively. The world today marks International Day of Education. Abroad, US President Donald Trump says he will not impose tariff on China. Good evening and welcome to the Delta Television News at 8. I am Ogaga Ekama. The state government has debunked online reports purporting that the state is running on borrowed fund. The State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Mr. Charles Anyagu, and the Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Fidelis Tilije, countered the report while briefing newsmen on the issue today in Asaba.
Sanyagu said the report by the Sahara reporters stating the state was being run with loans was false and a sponsored act to rubbish the efforts of the Oberwari administration.
We have read out a number of projects that we have embarked upon in the last 19 and a half months, and that all those projects are being funded by the funds that are at the disposal of the states, and that at no time in the last 19 and a half months has the state made any move to ask for anybody to give us money in form of loan.
In his remarks, the Finance Commissioner, Sir Fidelis Tilije, said the state had not entered into any borrowing partnership with any individual or corporate body, nor had it borrowed funds since the onset of the present administration, adding that Governor Sheriff Oberwari had put in place machineries geared towards prudent spending, as Delta State was one of the strongest in terms of finance.
We have come out here to state categorically that we know what we are doing in Delta State. We have paid so much in terms of contractual obligation. We have ensured that all debts have been paid down as seriously as we can. We have also improved in terms of contractual relationship with our contractors.
He urged the public, particularly Deltans, to disregard the reports as they were false. Esther Oputa reporting.
The State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Mr. Charles Anyagu, has said Governor Sheriff Oberwari is connecting communities and transforming lives through provision of road infrastructure across rural communities in the state. Mr. Anyagu, speaking on a national television program, said Governor Oberwari has completed over 100 kilometers of roads with over 150 kilometers ongoing. He explained that Governor Oberwari had provided 1 billion naira each for road construction in the 25 local government areas in 2024 fiscal year and upscaled it to 2.1 billion naira each in the 2025 budget. The commissioner noted that the governor was committed to developing rural communities alongside the urban centers to curb rural-urban migration. As part of efforts aimed at alleviating the suffering of vulnerable persons in the state, Governor Sheriff Oberwari has approved the presentation of grants to widows living with HIV and AIDS. The presentation was organized by the State Ministry of Women Affairs, Community and Social Development in collaboration with the Delta State Agency for Control of AIDS, SACA. Esther Oputa reports.
Commissioner for Women Affairs, Community and Social Development, Honorable Pat Ajudwa, while addressing the beneficiaries, said HIV and AIDS had a devastating impact on the society, particularly on women and children, adding that it was the responsibility of the government to provide psychosocial, health and financial support.
Today we gather to mark a significant milestone in our collective efforts to empower and support our sisters, mothers and daughters who have been affected by HIV/AIDS. This presentation, which is the 6th edition, is a testament to our commitment to improving the lives of widows vulnerable in Delta State. The grants presentation today is designed to provide economic support to boost their businesses, believing that by providing these resources, they will be able to improve their health status, livelihoods, and those of their families.
The permanent secretary in the ministry, Mrs. Ogenekewe Agas, said it was the 6th time the women were being presented the grant, adding that SACA was already taking care of their medications. Coordinating Officer for Orphans and Vulnerable Children, OVC, Mrs. Faith Otu, thanked the state government for the gesture, saying it would ease the pain of suffering widows. The highlight featured presentation of the grants to the beneficiaries. Esther Oputa reporting.
The State Ministry of Environment has clarified that individuals posing as members of an environmental task force and extorting POS operators are neither staff of the ministry nor agents of the state government. The State Commissioner for Environment, Mr. 24th Janaury, made the clarification while speaking with our news crew in his office in Asaba. Henry Unogwa reports.
The Environment Commissioner was reacting to reports by some POS operators plying their trade at the Summit Road Junction by Rain Oil Filling Station that individuals claiming to be members of the task force on environment came to the area to harass them and extort money from them. The POS operators said the self-acclaimed task force members came at about 10 p.m. saying they were agents of the state government. Mr. Janaury stressed that the ministry had not set up any task force over persons carrying out their legal business activities, adding that the individuals involved in the report were imposters.
I don't send anybody to go out in the night to extort deltas. It's against this administration, it's against the ethic of the Sheriff of Owerri, who has promised deltas more.
He enjoined residents to go about their lawful activities while advising business owners to report persons or group of persons who harassed them or demanded money from them in the name of Task Force on Environment. The Environment Commissioner called on residents to keep their surroundings clean at all times and register with private sector participants, PSPs, in the disposal of their waste. Henry Onogwa reporting.
The Modi community in Iduwini Kingdom, Burtu local government area, recently rolled out the drums to celebrate some of its sons and daughters who have distinguished themselves as academics. Butu reports.
Those honored were Emeritus Professor Chris Ikoripo, former Vice-Chancellor of the Niger Delta University, Bayelsa State, Professor Enchad Erizene, Professor Brian Giri, Professor Jude Ikoripo, and late Emeritus Professor Richard Angiama, who taught mathematics in the University of East London. In his remarks, Chairman of the Brutal Local Government on celebrating them when they died, Honorable Takeme, who chaired the event, commended the community for celebrating indigenes who had distinguished themselves in the academics, saying it would inspire the younger generation to strive for the best in their various endeavors.
It is not always good for us to celebrate somebody when he's no longer alive. These professors that we are seeing here today, we are aware of their contribution to the development of the society. So it's a good thing to celebrate them today while they are alive.
The chairman of the local organizing committee, Honorable Dennis Bibakefe, said the community deemed it fit to celebrate Emeritus Chris Ikoripo and 4 other professors for attaining great academic heights through hard work and commitment. In a keynote address, Professor Benedict Benabai of the Niger Delta University, Amasomo, Bayelsa State, and the Ibenanawe of Iduwini Kingdom, Ama Bulu I, among others, in their remarks lauded the achievers and urged them to continue to provide mentorship for the younger generation.
Professor Ikoripo is a multi-dimensional scholar. He has influenced people in many ways. He is a pioneer professor in this part of our country, and he has assisted many of us to achieve our dreams. He is somebody who is not just a professor, he is a professor of international standing.
It is very difficult to see, very rare to see professors in one community up to 5. And I think I will emulate this effort. Key into these present professors so that we can produce more professors in this community. We are all happy, we are celebrating.
Through what this committee has done to my Oga and the other professors, I will conclude by saying education will not be scam.
In his response, Professor Chris Iporipo charged the people to embrace education as it was a key to knowledge and power. The event featured the presentation of awards to those honored and traditional dances. I am Pere Botu reporting.
The state government has sensitized and mobilized stakeholders, including communities, to prioritize the security and welfare of core members in the state. The state governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oboiwori, disclosed this in his address at the opening ceremony of the 2024 Batch C Stream 2 orientation course of the National Youth Service Corps NYC in the state, held at the NYC Orientation Camp, Iseluku and Nyocha North Local Government Area. The report.
The governor, represented by the Commissioner for Higher Education, Dr. Jumbu Tonukari, appealed to employers of core members to invest in the NYSC by supporting community development service projects undertaken by the youths to improve the living standards of their host communities while engaging themselves positively.
The state government has also sensitized and mobilized all stakeholders, including communities, to prioritize the security and welfare of core members serving in Delta State.
The Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Kingsley Emu, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Cabinet Office, Mr. Henry Onyuku, charged the core members to imbibe all they would be taught in the camp and be good ambassadors of the scheme. The Delta State Coordinator of the NYSC, Mr. John Kwage, said the orientation course was a comprehensive program designed to instill in the core members leadership values, humility, perseverance, discipline, endurance, and the spirit of peaceful coexistence, among other virtues. He highlighted challenges facing the state NYSC and appealed to the government for the provision of vehicles and ambulance to support health initiatives for rural dwellers and an electricity generating set, among other requests. The oath was administered on the core members by the State Chief Judge, Justice Testi Diaye, represented by Justice C.I. Dafe. A total of 2,159 core members, comprising 993 males and 1,166 females, registered for the orientation course.
The Delta State Public Procurement Council has said it is dedicated to establish a system that is not only efficient but also a model for other states to emulate. The chairman of the council, Mr. David Igbodo, stated this while speaking with newsmen shortly after the council's inaugural meeting in Asaba. Mr. Igbodo emphasized that the council's primary responsibility was to regulate procurement issues in the state and ensure accountability, transparency, and value for money while aligning all their actions with the state government's more agenda. The Delta State Public Procurement Council was inaugurated by Governor Sheriff Oboiwori on December 4. The council comprises 4 statutory members: the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Ekemejero Okwobo-Riole, SAN, Commissioner for Finance, Sir Fidelis Tilije, the Commissioner for Economic Planning, Mr. Sonny Ikedanye, and the Chief Economic Advisor to the Governor, Dr. Barry Bay, among others. Minister for Livestock Development, Alhaji Idi Maiha, has tasked households to produce 1/3 of what they consume to help bridge the food insecurity gap in the country. Speaking on ending hunger, food availability and affordability in Nigeria, Alhaji Maiha stressed the need to look inward to address the country's challenges, given the country's enormous potential to achieve food security. He outlined strategies to modernize the livestock sector and noted that the ministry was overhauling meals. He noted that the current hunger situation in the country could be eliminated or significantly reduced by deploying the wide range of livestock resources available in Nigeria, which play a significant role in the nation's economy, food security, and rural livelihoods. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, has accepted the partnership request from the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, Alhaji Idris gave the approval when the Director General of BPP, Dr. Adebowale Adedokun, paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja. The minister commended Dr. Adedokun for reducing the time for procurement process at the Bureau to 20 working days, adding that this was innovative. The minister stressed that what was important was to ensure that needs were in line with guidelines set up by government to ensure transparency, accountability, and efficiency. He also said that BPP would migrate to electronic procurement to make the process easier. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubimi Tunji-Ojo, has ordered the reactivation of broken-down equipment in the nation's passport offices in Atlanta and New York in the United States of America. Dr. Tunji-Ojo said the order was necessitated by a petition from Nigerians in the diaspora who demanded the resuscitation of broken-down passport equipment in Atlanta and New York consulates and printers to the passport offices in both cities. Mr. Babatunde said the printers were ready for installation as part of the short-term solution to resolve the current challenge promptly, as the Nigeria Immigration Service there had been an end-to-end automation of the passport application process and the introduction of the contactless application process, which had since been launched in Canada. Still to come on the news, the world today marks International Day of Education. Details of this and more coming up shortly.
Upgrading your TV doesn't mean buying a new one. Unbelievable, right? But with the new Airtel Smart Router, you can now watch YouTube on any TV and also get unlimited data for 30 days to stream thrilling Nollywood movies, catch up on football highlights, and keep your kids engaged with edutainment, all on your reason to imagine.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on the news. As the world today marks the International Day of Education, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, has called on its member states to invest in training both teachers and students on the responsible use of technology within the fields of education. Violet Moye spoke with some tech experts on the impact of artificial intelligence, AI, in our contemporary society.
Every year, the International Education Day is celebrated on January 24 across the world to mark the importance of education in development. This year marks the celebration with the theme Artificial Intelligence, AI, and Education, Preserving Human Agency in the World of Automation, to highlight the growing impact of artificial intelligence and automation on education and the future workforce. Some tech experts said artificial intelligence had the potential to address some of the biggest challenges in education, including improving access to quality learning, enhancing teaching methods, and accelerating progress in research and the use of information technology in classroom learning.
The use of AI can make you write code smarter, write codes that are actually a lot for assignments, research purposes, and studies generally.
AI has actually helped in speed learning. So you tend to learn things that would generally take a whole lot of time to learn in just a matter of split, seconds and minutes. All you just need to do, key in your search query into whatever AI platform you want.
The respondents were, however, of the opinion that AI could not replace human agencies, as the technology depended solely on human intelligence for its operations. They called on educators to leverage the use of AI for effective learning.
AI actually depends on humans to be able to gather its own knowledge base. So there's no way AI can replace human. But I would always advise, as human, especially if you're in the tech space, you should incorporate the use of AI into your workflow.
Okay, I'll advise teachers to make a good research on those AIs that will really work well and work efficiently for them, to be able to make use of them in the classroom.
Violet Moye reporting.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Dr. Wale Edun, has said the tariff in the telecommunications sector will be reviewed periodically. Dr. Edun stated this at the ongoing 2025 World Economic Forum, in line with the price increase. Dr. Edun also reaffirmed the government's commitment to fostering a thriving telecommunications sector that supports innovation, economic growth, and job creation. The minister said the goal of the government was to improve the economy and attract investments across sectors. The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
The United States President, Mr. Donald Trump, says he would rather not impose tariffs on China after previously threatening sweeping action on the world's biggest economy. The US President said in an interview with newsmen that tariffs were their power over Beijing. Meanwhile, a US judge had temporarily blocked Mr. Trump's order to change birthright citizenship, which was slated to take effect in February. Mr. Trump had also ordered a declassification of files relating to the deaths of John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. as part of another flurry of executive orders. Australian police are investigating after a statue of Captain James Cook was covered in red paint and disfigured ahead of the Australian Day weekend. It was the second time in 12 months that a statue in Sydney had been vandalized. Australia Day is a national holiday that is held each year on January 26th, the anniversary of Britain's first fleet's landing at Sydney Cove in 1788. Many indigenous Australians said the date causes them pain. The local council in Radway, the suburb where the statue is located, described the vandalism as a disservice to the community and a disservice to reconciliation. The reported disappearance of more than 80 government critics over the last 6 months has caused a huge public backlash in Kenya. A judge had warned he would imprison top security officials for contempt of court on Monday, turning to that dark past. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Douglas Kanja, and Directorate of Criminal Investigations Director, Mr. Mohammed Amin, were ordered to produce in court 7 social media influencers who disappeared in December. 5 suddenly reappeared in early January at various locations across the country. Mr. Kanja's lawyer asked the court for more time to record statements for them and file a report.
A federal high court in Abuja yesterday gave an order prescribing the Lakurawa sect and other similar groups in any part of Nigeria, especially in the northwest and north central. In a ruling on the ex parte originating summons filed by the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, the Federal High Court judge, Justice James Omotosho, also declared the group as a terror organization. The AGF prayed the court for 4 orders, which were granted by the court. An assistant director in the Federal Ministry of Justice, David Scarsway, moved the motion dated January 13 and filed a day after by the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP of the Federation, MB Abubakar, in the affidavit in support of the originating summons deposed to by Mr. Michael Akawu, a litigation officer in the Department of Public Prosecutions of the Federation, PPF. He said that he had the consent of the Director of PPF to make the abatements. Music superstars Burna Boy, Tems, Lojay, and Davido have bagged nominations for the 2025 iHeartRadio Music Awards. Davido and Lojay are up for Best R&B Song for their feature on Chris Brown's Sensational, competing against South African singer Tyler for a hit single Water. Grammy winners Burna Boy and Tems are nominated for World Artist of the Year, with British rapper Central C, Tyler, and Jamaica star YG Marley. Tyler leads the African contingent with 3 nominations, including Best Dance Song for the remix of Water with Marshmello. The iHeartRadio Music Awards are set to take place on March 17 at the Dolby Theatre in Los Angeles, airing on Fox. In sports, Super Eagles head coach Eric Schell will be in attendance during the draw for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. The draw ceremony will hold at the Mohammed V National Theatre, Rabat, on Monday next week. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, is expected to announce procedure for the draw this weekend. 3-time champions Nigeria will be among the top seeds for the draw. Shell's side are among the top 6 ranked African teams on the FIFA rankings. The West Africans also finished second at the AFCON 2023 finals in Cote d'Ivoire. Coach Shell was appointed Super Eagles head coach 2 weeks ago. Over now to the thought for the day. Don't count your friends until you need their help. To end the news, here again are the main points. The state government has debunked online reports